What's up? It's Dom, and I'm here with another video from NBA The Run. Now, as you already know from the title, there is a one player in this game that is just not only he is overpowered. There are many players that are overpowered, right? But this specific player, his attributes are just crazy. Like, compared to other players, his attributes make zero sense, and this player definitely needs to be tuned and patched. And I feel like most of you who play the game already know who the player is. Let me know in the comments if you guessed it right. I'm gonna do a countdown. 3, 2, 1. It's Nikola Jokic. Now, let me tell you this. I'm gonna pull up his attributes on the screen right now so you can see. So, this guy, Nikola Jokic, he has tools on a crown level. That's a maximum level, right? Basically 6 out of 5 if you think about it, crown level. Now, I don't mind this. He is efficient. He has a high field goal percentage. So I feel like this attribute is actually okay. I agree with it. Tools on a crown level is absolutely okay with me. Now we get into the big leagues. Threes on 5 out of 5. So based on this game, Jokic is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Now, I don't agree with it for a simple fact, because he doesn't shoot threes very often, right? But I have to admit that when he shoots, he usually scores, right? He hit some crazy shots, like he hit multiple half courts, he be hitting Euro steps, full court shots, whatever. He got some crazy shots, I'm not gonna lie. He can shoot, definitely. But let's just compare him with other players in this game to really see how stupid that statistic is, right? So look, Jokic got threes on 5 out of 5, right? Just for your reference, Trae Young got his threes on 4 out of 5. So based on this game, Nikola Jokic is a better 3-point shooter than Trae Young. Okay, now I get it. This is just the perspective, right? Because I checked the statistics from the last season. Jokic shot around 1.7 threes per game, with a 38% percentage, right? This is more than Trae Young. Trae Young took more shots per game, but with a lower percentage. So you could really argue that Jokic is a better 3-point shooter than Trae Young, but it doesn't really make sense, and Trae Young was injured too. But it's just, I don't know, if you ask a basketball fan who is a better 3-point shooter, Nikola Jokic or Trae Young, would you really say Nikola Jokic? But I get it. The stats might be comparable with Trae Young, but I wouldn't say Trae Young is a worse shooter. Like, Trae Young's 3-point at least should be the same as Nikola Jokic's in this game, you know? But if you want to talk about the stats, let's go further, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Nikola Jokic, as I said, his 3-point is higher than Trae Young's. His 3-point is also higher than Kawhi Leonard's, right? His 3-point is also higher than Donovan Mitchell's. His 3-point is also higher than LaMelo Ball's. His 3-point is also higher than Luka Doncic. So, do you want to tell me that Nikola Jokic is a better 3-point shooter than all of these players I just named. Just for your information, as I said the stats before, Jokic shot 1.7 threes per game with 38%. Luka Doncic shot 4 threes per game with 37%. So Luka Doncic only had 1% lower make percentage, but he shot nearly 3-pointers per game, you know, made more 3-pointers per game. My fault. So LaMelo Ball, the same, 3.8 threes per game with 37%. Kawhi Leonard, 2.6 3-pointers per game with 38.7%. So Kawhi actually shot more 3-pointers with more percentage than Jokic, but his 3-point rating in this game is still lower. So ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I absolutely agree with the twos stat, because Jokic excels in that department. But based on this game, Jokic has better attribute on 3-pointers than Trae Young, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, LaMelo Ball, Luka Doncic. I just don't agree with it. This makes no sense. But that's not all. Let's go further. Another stat. Dunks. Nikola Jokic has dunk attribute on 4 out of 5. Ladies and gentlemen, Nikola Jokic dunked the ball like 3 times in his lifetime, and his dunking attribute is the same as Kevin Durant's, Cooper Fleck's, Kawhi Leonard's, Jason Tatum's, Paolo Banchero's. Do you mean to tell me that Nikola Jokic, that barely dunks the ball, is the same level of dunker as all of these I just named? Again, Cooper Fleck dunking on big man, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard. How many posterizers does Kawhi Leonard have in his highlight reel? Vin Durant. And you mean to tell me that Nikola Jokic in this game got the same attributes in dunking? Listen, even the 3-pointers make no sense in my opinion, but I would low-key tolerate it because at least he shoots 3-pointers, he makes them, you know, he got some crazy shots. But dunking, ladies and gentlemen, dunking is just, I cannot tolerate this. This just makes zero sense. Nikola Jokic in this game is same dunker as all of these I just named. That's not all, ladies and gentlemen. Nikola Jokic has actually a higher dunking attribute in this game than Cade Cunningham and SGA, because these two actually got the dunking on 3 out of 5. So in this game, based on the attributes, Nikola Jokic is a better dunker than Cade Cunningham and SGA, and he's the same dunker as Kevin Durant, Cooper Fleck, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, and Paolo Banchero. Now that's crazy, alright? That's crazy. But if you thought that's all, it's not, alright? We are moving to the next one. Handles. Again, 4 out of 5 on handles. Do you know who else has in this game has handles on 4 out of 5? Rookie LeBron James and Jason Tatum. So, based on this game, again, Jason Tatum and the rookie LeBron James have the same level of handles as Nikola Jokic, ladies and gentlemen. The only 2 players. Now, this attribute is low-key similar to the 3-point one. You know, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense, but I would low-key tolerate it because there are not many players that have lower handles than 4 out of 5. In fact, there are only two. That's Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis, and they have their handles on 3 out of 5, right? And that's the lowest rating out of every player in the NBA Durant. But I'm not gonna lie. To make it make sense, you should either make Jokic also have 3 out of 5 handles, or you should make Jason Tatum and young LeBron have their handles higher, because that's crazy. And let me tell you, you can notice it on the gameplay too. The dunking, Nikola Jokic, he has this signature dunk, this two-hander. You can barely block it. If you're not Victor Wembanyama and you don't time your block perfectly, you are not blocking Nikola Jokic in this game. Okay? The handles as well. When I play a good defender such as Kawhi or Amen Thompson or whoever, like, it doesn't matter, just a player with a high steals, it's way easier to steal the ball from some of the guards than it is to steal the ball from Nikola Jokic. So that's another stat that doesn't really make sense in my opinion. And then you can go further. There's passes 5 out of 5. I absolutely agree. I would actually even give him the crown level on passes. You know, his passing he's one of the best passers in the league, so I would actually boost him in this department. Then guard 3 out of 5, steals 4 out of 5, blocks 3 out of 5. That's okay. That's okay. Rebounds on crown level, that's okay. That makes sense. And then you have speed, power, stamina, aura. That's okay in my opinion. Maybe just one thing, he has steals on 4 out of 5. I agree with it. He's like it. I think he's in top 10 in steals per game. But one thing I would say is that Donovan Mitchell in this game has steals 3 out of 5, so that's lower than Jokic. However, Donovan Mitchell is in real life in the league, he's averaging more steals per game than Nikola Jokic. So this is just the only like small detail that Donovan Mitchell should at least have the same steal rating as Jokic, but not less. But other than that, the stats are pretty okay. But listen, the dunking is the main problem here. I would actually, what I would do is I would take off one attribute from his freeze, so he would have 4 out of 5, right? Because it doesn't make any sense that Trae Young, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, LaMelo Ball, and Luka Doncic have same attribute rating as Nikola Jokic. So either you have to boost their free or you have to lower Jokic's free. And to better separate the great shooters, I would pick the second option, where I would lower Jokic's free to 4 out of 5. I would lower his dunks from 4 out of 5 to 3 out of 5. You know, he is definitely not a better dunker than Cade Cunningham or SGA. So at least make them have the same dunking, but not more than them. So lower his 3-pointer to 4 out of 5, lower his dunks to 3 out of 5. Handles, I would actually lower 2 to 3 out of 5, but it can stay on 4. I don't really mind it. And I would actually, if you take the attribute from freeze and dunks, you can put another attribute on the passes. I wouldn't actually mind if his passes were on the crown level. But the dunking definitely needs to get patched for Nikola Jokic. Like, you know, like, I wouldn't actually talk about this if it were only just stats on the stat sheet, but you can actually feel it on the gameplay, as I'm saying. Like, Nikola Jokic's dunk is barely blockable, you know? You shouldn't need to have Wembanyama with perfect block timing to be able to stop Nikola Jokic's dunk. You feel me? There are players like Cooper Fleck is actually OP in dunking as well, but for example, Paolo Banchero, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, all of these players are pretty easy to stop in the paint, you know, and they are all better dunkers than Nikola Jokic. So something to think about. And as I said, this guy like needs to get patched. You feel me? But let me know in the comments what you think about it. What do you think about Nikola Jokic? Do you agree with his stats? Would you patch him or not? Like the video, it's free. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss on the future content. And most importantly, take care of yourselves and stay safe. Alright? Appreciate everybody watching the video. Appreciate all the support. See you in the next one. Peace.